Hello everyone, it's me again, bringing you another timeless tarot and oracle reading for the general collective of the audience of this video, asking your spirit guides and higher selves to bring messages through me and through these tarot and oracle cards for your highest and best good, for your guidance at this time. I'm starting with the Unfolding Path Tarot. And welcome to the Hope Collective. If you haven't been here before, this is what I do on this channel. Sometimes I do pick a cards, sometimes I just do general readings like today. Excuse me. All three of these, or all four of these, okay. And it's 4 cards from the Unfolding Path Tarot right out the gate. Oh my goodness. Ace of Swords. 9 of Cups reversed. That came out in the reading that I filmed 2 days ago that my device is still trying to get posted very slowly. It should be posted before this one, so you may have seen it already before you see this one. And then we have Ace of Pentacles reversed and Death, which has come out in a couple of my readings recently. Very interesting. Definitely a time of transformation. And as I was shuffling, I was getting an image of massage and of kidneys. So a message from the spirit guides of the collective to hydrate, and if body work is something you are feeling drawn to, follow that call because your tissues need it. I'm getting an image of people's tissues being like wrung out and then replenished with good clean water. A specific spirit guide, he actually wants to be identified. A lot of times they don't. But Saint Germain, the Ascended Master, is coming through to say that he's coming through with that highlight of people's kidneys to say that the kidneys of the human collective in general are in crisis at the moment because of dehydration and because of water quality of the water that is being consumed for obviously very different reasons depending on the part of the globe that you're in. Where I am in the US, a lot of it is actually plastics in the water supply. So getting water that is not from a plastic, like an easily degraded plastic bottle, is very important for someone or some people in this collective, he's saying. We have a 5th card coming out of this deck as well. The 9 of Pentacles reversed. So these 9 of Cups reversed and 9 of Pentacles reversed came out from a different deck in the reading that my device is currently trying to post. So if you just came from that reading, there's definitely some confirmation there. It'll be the reading posted right before this one, if you haven't seen it yet. Ace of Swords, Ace of Pentacles reversed, Death, 9 of Cups reversed, 9 of Pentacles reversed. And we have the White Peacock in the 9 of Pentacles card. There are so many reasons I love this deck, and that image of the angel peacock and the way the Ace of Swords is depicted are definitely some of those reasons. The Death card is definitely one of those reasons as well. All right, spirit guides, tap me into this collective. Tap me into what messages you have for this collective, what messages the higher self of this collective has. They're drawing me to the Ace of Pentacles first, which makes sense because they did center it in this reading, but they're drawing me to the parallel between the pentacle in this card and the golden disc behind the skull in the Death card. We have a golden disc akin to a very golden full moon or a sun behind a skull, and then we have a pale white, gray, or silver disc akin to a full moon, or just a disc, a coin of silver behind the youthful, fresh face with the blue hair. I'm hearing turning point and pivot point, with the way the disc could be seen as rotating, and the way that there's this infinity symbol like interplay between the youthful face and the skull in the Death card, this infinite transformation that's always occurring in the circle of life. And we have the circle of life in the Ace of Pentacles starting anew. The aces are new beginnings, and in Pentacles it's new beginnings in the material realm, in the realm of physical, third-dimensional life, rebirth. Okay, that might be why actually some of you are having extra attention drawn to body work, giving the physical body a flush and a rebirth with hydration and breath work, body work, physical stretching, physical massage. Yeah, we have this desire for a turning point with the reversals here. I commonly read reversals, have been guided to by spirit guides to read them as turning points and a need for a turnaround, a need for an energy to be turned around, whether that's balanced, realigned, etc. And the relationship to the physical body, it's like there's an opportunity for a turnaround there, an opportunity for a rebirth in the relationship to physical life. It's like an opportunity for a whole fresh start for this collective, an opportunity for like this really deep, clean purge and rebirth on the physical level, which does necessitate that type of rebirth on the emotional level and spiritual level, because those are the ones that dictate your physical reality, that govern your physical reality. Of course, there's an interplay in both directions, just like with the infinity loop. The physical feeds back into the emotional and spiritual. So giving yourself that flush and rebirth on the physical also gives you the opportunity to feel brand new emotionally, spiritually. And I think some of you need to hear that and need to realize that, because I'm getting a message from spirit guides for some folks in this collective that you're wondering why everything feels so stale emotionally, but you're neglecting your physical body. And they're bringing me to the Ace of Swords as I say that, like you're wondering why you're not inspired, why you're not getting new ideas, like the Ace of Swords represents. And giving your physical life a jump start, a boost, a restart, and a reset will actually jumpstart and restart and reset your mindset and give you new ideas, fresh inspiration, like draining and pumping dirty water out of a vessel and pumping new water, clean, fresh water in. Of course, that's going to give you new ideas. It's like fresh air, fresh breath. I'm getting another card from the deck as well, the Hierophant. In reverse, yes, I read the Hierophant as representing both the positive and negative aspects of tradition and convention. So there's traditional wisdom, but also the confines of tradition. And with this coming out in reverse, right under the Ace of Swords, there's ways that you are accustomed to doing things that you are blind to and that are confining and restricting you. And you would do well to give yourself a reset and just try doing things in a new way, shaking them up. You'll be surprised how many new ideas and how much new inspiration that gives you when you actually give your physical habits, your daily life, like day-to-day routines, an infusion of new life, an infusion of new vitality. I'm getting that image of an IV. So for different folks in this group, there's going to be different levels of metaphor versus literality in these images. So some of you may have access to things like nutrition IVs and treatments like that, and may have experience with them for physical issues you've dealt with in the past, and maybe being called by your spirit guides to revisit those because your body needs a top up. But for everyone in this group, this does apply figuratively, where you need this influx of new life, new blood, and nutrients, a change up in the way that you eat, cooking with fresh fruits and vegetables, or just cooking with fruits and vegetables at all, whether they're frozen or canned or fresh. Maybe a change up in how it is that you go about getting your hydration, so that you're not using plastic bottles, or so that you're getting hydration at all. A change up in your sleep routine, a change up in how you go about waking yourself up for the day, just not reaching for your screen or your device right away in the morning, but actually taking 5 minutes to take some deep breaths first and really focus on bringing new oxygen into the body and getting that breath as deep as possible and imagining it permeating all the layers of your body. I'm getting that this type of very simple breath work would actually be a really great morning fresh start and evening reset for everyone in this group. And this came through in the reading that I'm posting at the moment that has the 2 9s in it as well, where where it specifically came through in relation to sleep in that reading, relating to taking time as you go to sleep to breathe into the body and imagine the breath bringing divine light into all the layers of the emotional, physical, and energetic bodies, and really soaking in that. So that type of very simple unwinding breath work, just as you lay down to sleep, it can take place after any other evening habits or routines you already have, or it might take the place of some of them. And for a more in-depth visualization, you can see that reading. But that type of very simple, just 5 minutes of deep breathing to reset the body before sleep and give yourself, prime yourself is the word I'm hearing, for the best possible sleep, the most nourishing sleep for all levels of your being. And then at the beginning of the day, you don't have to count it out or set a timer if you don't want to. You can if that's helpful for you. But at the beginning of the day, taking a few minutes to just focus on your breathing and just feeling into all of the extremes of your body. Just imagine breathing through all of the tissues of the body from head to toe, shoulders to fingertips, chest to hips, through the knees and ankles and legs and all the different joints in the feet. Really grounding yourself in the physical and actually bringing yourself present, like anchoring yourself in all the tissues of your body so that you're like, I'm here in this body is mine. Some of you I'm hearing are having some experiences where some of these routines that we're talking about resetting feel so rote that they almost don't even feel in your control. And the first step to taking charge of your agency and free will and choice over your actions instead of being an autopilot is actually bringing yourself present. So anchoring yourself in the body in the morning in this very simple way is a really key part. I'm getting the picture of a key turning in a lock, a really key part to unlocking that ability in each and every moment of the day thereafter to pause and go, is what I'm doing right now what I want to be doing? Do I maybe have a choice point in this moment that I wouldn't have noticed if I didn't pause? Like, do I actually have a choice about how I go about the task that I'm doing? Maybe I always listen to this podcast or this type of music while I'm doing this chore. And actually I'm feeling like just a desire to switch it up. Maybe I actually just want to be quiet and pay attention to my breathing while I'm doing this, or I want to listen to a meditation, or I just want to listen to a different type of podcast or music that would make me feel better in this moment because it's what's resonating with me. Little choices like that, literally the way you move while going about different tasks, anchoring into your body and taking deep breaths and strengthening your core while you vacuum or while you drive your car, doing some self-massage while you're stuck in traffic, or doing some chair dancing while you're commuting in your driver's seat or what have you, or reading a different type of book while you're on the train or the bus. Relating to every aspect of your physical everyday life in a different way is the type of rebirth that I am really getting with the Ace of Pentacles reversed in the Death card here, and the way that will bring in this incredible unforeseen influx of new insight and inspiration with the Ace of Swords. And then with the Nine of Cups and Nine of Pentacles being in reverse right now, that insight and that sort of toppling of routines that don't serve you with the Hierophant reversed, leading to the fulfillment and the wish fulfillment and the emotional and physical sense of fulfillment and sense of being in charge of your own life that we get with the Nine of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles. And the Nine of Pentacles in particular often speaks to independence, independent wealth, entrepreneurship, common interpretations for that card, resting on your laurels in like a physical achievement type of way. And because they precede the 10, it is this almost ultimate fulfillment in the Nine of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles on the earthly material way and on the emotional way with the water element in the cups. But with the cups especially, I'm getting the emotional fulfillment of liberation, and that's part of why the physical health aspect and this element of water and hydration are so key for you, because your ability to feel really free and fluid in your physical body is a key aspect of your emotional fulfillment and liberation that has maybe for a lot of this group been neglected for a while. Not necessarily out of, laziness or something bad or wrong about you, but simply out of not really noticing that was something that you actually have an opportunity, with this opportunity we've been talking about with the aces and the death card, to actually reclaim and change your relationship to, and turn into something new with the rebirth of the death card. Turn what feels like you might feel like, oh, there's just this inevitable sort of decline or degradation in my physical well-being and health and my ability to feel good and happy in my physical body. And there is some opportunity here to reclaim that and actually go, wait a second, just because my body shifts and changes over time doesn't mean that my relationship to it has to degrade. My relationship to my body can keep getting reborn, and I can keep relating to it in new ways, experimenting with new things I can do in my daily life to actually make this relationship with myself and with my physical life one that is fulfilling, one that I'm happy in, one that is ever evolving and brand new all the time, one that's exciting. We talk about doing things to liven up our relationships with our partners. It's time to do that with your relationship with your body. And that can be all sorts of different things. It can be trying new classes at the gym. It can be taking a walk at a different park. Definitely the hydration and some form of either stretching or massage, something that brings fluidity into the movement of the body, and something that brings fluidity into your daily routine so that you don't feel like you're just stuck in a rut with, I have to just do the things that I need to do in the way that I've always done them, even though I feel kind of meh about the way I've always done them. Those are definite elements, but you can get creative and just brainstorm, maybe invite some other people into this process. Brainstorm with yourself, with your journal, talking out loud, talking to your spirit guides, talking to friends or family. Brainstorm ways that you can change things up. And I'm getting from spirit guides, for some of you it would be a great aim to just try one new thing every week and set a reminder in your calendar now that repeats every week. Try one new thing in your day-to-day life every week and make a list of them now. You could even throw a dart or roll a die or flip a coin in terms of choosing which ones, that you don't get indecision paralysis and don't get stuck just trying to choose what to try. Just try anything. Anything from your guided, aligned sense of being, right? Not just try anything in terms of with reckless disregard and abandon for your actual well-being, but try anything from that sort of place, that sense. So for some of you, having a list to choose from is what's gonna unlock that stuck in a rut autopilot, forgetting that you actually have so many more options and this infinite abundance of choices you can make. For some of you, actually having that sort of morning meditation and inviting the guidance of spirit into it is what's going to unlock that, where you're not trying to predetermine, but actually asking spirit, your own heart, your own body, your spirit guides, your higher self, for guidance about what would be good for me to try today. And for some of you, it might be you try a new thing every day or every few days, not necessarily every week. You just try a new thing whenever you're guided, or you set a reminder for every 3 days. There's so much flexibility. The whole point of this is fluidity. So there's so much flexibility and wiggle room in how you go about it. The important thing is bringing some awareness to how you function so that you set yourself up for success to actually try new things, to actually do this rather than just think about it. So for some of you, just the act of thinking about it is the domino that sets everything off, because you have a regular practice of meditation and tapping into spiritual guidance already. So just you thinking about this and setting this intention is already going to cause your guidance to come in every day with, how can I change things up? What would be best for me? Do I want to go on a hike at that new park? Do I want to try this different social event? Do I want to call that friend I haven't spoken to in 3 months? Whatever it is. And for others of you, implementing reminders from your calendar, from your friends, from your family, is something that is part of your process, is part of how you function optimally. Having a list in your journal or on your fridge that you can, like I said, flip a coin, throw a magnet at, throw a dice, roll some dice and see, okay, which item on the list are we going to try this week or today? Make it fun, make a game out of it. Part of the whole point of this is infusing, like taking out all the stale, like drudgery, meh energy, and infusing, like, actually I can have fun in my everyday life into your new rebirth. Do you think the Knight of Cups is not having fun? Like, that type of emotional fulfillment involves pleasure, involves joy, involves excitement, enthusiasm. And the Nine of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles, when it's upright, definitely involves that too. It's someone who has not only an abundance of money, but actually an abundance of enthusiasm. Like, is not just making money doing something they hate. That would not be a Nine of Pentacles upright. That would be a Nine of Pentacles reversed. So I am getting a message for a few of you now that I say that, actually, that a change up in your career is being direly called for, because you are not going to be able to have daily routines that you like with your career the way it is. So for some of you, that means changing fields. For some of you, that means changing jobs. For some of you, that means going independent in the field that you're already in so that you have control over your daily life and feel that sense of independence that the Nine of Pentacles upright has, instead of feeling like that is quashed by external forces that control your abundance. And this is where some of this new insight and inspiration comes in for a lot of you. Brainstorming how your life could look if you take control, if you dare to make a change, if you take the reins. Wow. So definitely a career shift for some of you, and the recognition that a career shift may not need to look the way that you have assumed it would. Some of you may have assumed, oh, if I do something to change my career now, it's going to mean impoverishing myself. It's going to mean losing all that I've worked so hard to build and to gain. And you're being asked by your spirit guides, by your higher self, especially for that segment of you that is really being called to a career change. You're really being called by your higher self to check out the falseness of that belief and check out all the different ways there are to, like, rearrange your relationship to your career and its level of prioritization in your life, and rearrange the relationship so that you are the one with the reins rather than you being driven by a job, a boss, a career that has control over you. That really is a big part of the heart of this rebirth for everyone in this reading, is noticing, where am I stuck in a rut or on autopilot, and where can I with great ease and grace and effortlessness, actually take the reins back and just shift my direction 2 degrees to the right and make myself a whole lot happier with a simple shift like that in an area where I just forgot that I actually had a say. And for some of you, that's going to domino into these really big sweeping changes with how you live your life, your career, your relationship to your body. Just getting a massage every week or every 2 weeks could make a really sweeping change to how you feel in your body, and you being inspired then to do some stretching or yoga or exercise that just didn't feel as good before you got a little external help with loosening up your muscles. Like, that type of domino effect is what we're seeing in this reading, what I'm seeing in this reading, what I'm being given. And however that applies, physical body, health, happiness, career, definitely multiple of those for most of you. So with career, instead of you being the ox that is yoked to the cart that someone else is driving, potentially your own past decisions are driving that cart, and those decisions no longer resonate with you. You stepping back and going, wait a second, I can take the yoke off. I can put myself in the driver's seat. What do I choose? Where do I want to drive this cart? Do I want to be yoked to this company or this specific job anymore? Do I even want to be yoked to this field anymore? How do I want to apply the skills and the mastery I've gained? Because the Knight of Pentacles is towards the end of that first cycle of the tarot. There is definitely some serious amount of skill and mastery that's gained there. And we also have the Hierophant. The Hierophant is very, very skilled, has a lot of wisdom and experience behind them. But when they're in the reverse, they're trapped by that. They are the ox yoked to the cart, instead of bringing in these new ideas, these new mindsets, these new thoughts, and applying their wisdom and experience in a sort of modernized, updated way that actually is the more applicable and relevant to the current situation, and that optimizes and gets the most benefit out of and for the current situation, for both themselves and everyone around them. The Hierophant in reverse is stuck in rigid dogma, and the Hierophant upright is able to actually apply conventional wisdom in unconventional ways. And that is going to be a key for career change for a lot of you. What else, Spirit? Okay, I'm being guided to bring in two things. I'm being guided to bring in the back of the deck energy, and then I'm being guided to bring in a new deck. So on the back of the deck is this upright or in reverse? Upright. Okay. You have the Queen of Swords, just talking about insight. That is some very sharp, keen insight. I would argue the sharpest and keenest insight in the whole deck in the Queen of Swords. The most clear, unobstructed, objective insight. Yeah, definitely I'm getting a reminder here about that piece of starting off your day and ending your day, not on a screen, not with the influence of other people's thoughts, not with those overlays, but just with breathing into contact with your body and your physical senses, clearing the obstructions to insight. Very, very simple. Very, very simple. The Queen of Swords definitely cuts away all unnecessary complications and simplifies things down to their most elemental, fundamental parts, and therefore is able to very quickly and efficiently, by having sliced through all of that BS, actually build up from those elemental parts the most elegant solutions to the problems facing them, and is really able to see keenly through illusions and delusions. So where you might be deluding yourself is definitely something you're called to take a look at. Are you deluding yourself to actually think that you have less agency than you really do? Because that's the biggest theme in this reading, right? Is that taking the reins back, no longer being the one yoked. So where did you learn that from? And what is it going to take for you to unlearn that? How can you teach yourself out of learned helplessness? For some of you, that might involve shadow work, going back to the root, to the experiences that taught you that you had to take a back seat in your own life and had to stick with conventional wisdom and the way things have always been done. For many of you, with this reinventing your relationship to daily life and to your body, I would say for everyone in this reading, there's an element of show yourself that you have free will by just choosing to do things differently on a daily basis. This is a great thing to set a reminder of for yourself. If you have apps that track goals for you, set a goal in there that with a reminder attached. If you just want to use an alarm or a calendar reminder, whatever works for you, but set a little reminders for yourself to consider just whatever it is that you're looking at on a daily basis through a different light, through a different frame, a different perspective. Are you subconsciously making yourself out to be a victim of life or of your own circumstances specifically? Of course, there are things that you can't control, and I'm not advocating for trying to manufacture control of those things, but I am advocating for, okay, take my hands off of those things and put them on what I can control. What do I actually have a say over? It doesn't matter how small it is. It is going to domino and spiral and descend into this bigger expansion. Okay, so I'm being drawn to the Spirit Song Tarot next. That's what that deck looks like. If any of you are not already familiar with the Spirit Song Tarot and are curious about it, what do we have today, Spirit? What do we have? What other messages do we have for this group from the spirit guides and higher selves of this collective? Okay, I'm getting a card here. Justice, truth, and clarity. What? We have the sun shining from behind what I think is a crow in this card. And we have this dead center right under the Ace of Pentacles reversed. The Justice balances and weighs two things, and when they are out of balance is a force of bringing them back into balance. So this is definitely speaks to the sort of pivoting force. You know, you pivot on a fulcrum just like the scales are balanced on something in the center in the Justice card. So in this case, the beak of the bird. This speaks to that pivoting force and the fact that you have it in your hands, in your very beak, just like this Justice figure. You have the center of the scales in your own hands, just like this individual has the pentacle in their hands, and they can toss it or turn it whatever way they like. They can change their orientation to it. You are at the center of the scales. It is up to you to balance them. You have the power in your hands or in your mouth or beak, like this bird. And this coming out next to the Queen of Swords with those words, truth and clarity. I was just saying how there is no one better at cutting to the heart of things, to the truth with clarity, than the Queen of Swords. And you are being called to unlock that capacity in yourself to cut through anything that is obstructing the truth and obstructing your clarity by coming back to basics, simplifying things, using just a few minutes of deep breaths at different points in the day to just let go of all of the influences from other people, from devices, from the world, and come back into yourself and how you see things unobstructed. Use the hydration and the breathing and stretching, etc., to come back into your body and free your body of obstructions and flush things out that are not for your body's highest and best good, and see how your body feels unobstructed, bringing freedom and liberation with the truth, with clarity, with simplicity. This bird is perched very, very peacefully in front of the sun, surrounded by flowers, and I'm getting a really peaceful energy coming through this card. There is justice available to you in bringing peace to your life, where you have in the past been a victim of things that have robbed you of your peace, and in the present you actually have the ability to establish and maintain your peace and embrace a new dawn for your life by really cleansing out these past experiences with shadow work, with body work, cleansing out the scars from those experiences from your nervous system. This is a long-term process for a lot of things, but this is something that's available to you. You have the ability to take the reins of your life back in this way by cleansing out those experiences and embracing a new dawn for your life where there is so much more peace. And if there are ways in which those past experiences are interrupting your life still, disrupting your life still, considering, do I have to put up with that? Is this something I have to change the way, the place it has in my life and the way I relate to it because it's an element of my life that I can't control? Or is this something I can actually remove from my life or remove myself from? Can I actually move locations and move away from this disrupting factor in my environment by moving house? Can I actually submit a complaint or report about this coworker and then exit this job? Things like this may be elements of this process for some of you. For a lot of you, there's such a simplicity energy with the Queen of Swords that it's a lot smoother sailing, either than you expect or than those examples that I just gave. But everyone does experience bumps in the road. That's part of life. And this element of balance in the Justice card between surrendering to the bumps that you can't control and not causing them to cause you an injury by like tensing up against them. And on the other side of the scale, taking the reins, taking control of what actually is your role to take charge of, your place in alignment for you to take charge of. Take your place on the throne. There are things that absolutely are under your authority because this is your life. Your entire life is under your authority. It is not a time to give that authority to anybody else. It really never is. Surrendering to the divine guidance and what is in alignment for your heart and soul and body, very important. Surrendering your authority to any external factor or person, absolutely not. And that balance is something you are being called to take control of, adjusting, because that's in your hands. Shuffling the Spirit Song Tarot to get more messages here. And adjusting that balance is the key to peace. Taking control of the things you actually can and should control and do have that authority over, that you are the sole sovereign in your life, the sole authority, the sole queen or king in your life. And combining that with the genuine acceptance and surrender of the factors of life that you can't control and the non-resistance to those. This is the key to peace. That balance between those two. Right action for yourself and acceptance. Very, very similar to the Serenity Prayer. We have the Hermit. In reverse? Yes, in reverse. Okay, let's see what this looks like upright so you can get a better look at the illustration. We have the Hermit with Contemplation and Wisdom, the 9th major arcana. The Justice card is the 11th major arcana, and Death is the 13th, just in case any of those numbers are significant for anyone here. Contemplation and Wisdom. We have another figure perched in a tree here, which I know is not necessarily so unusual in a deck that is full of nature imagery. However, we have the tree as the source of a stable perch and a stable home for the Justice card, and we have that in an even cozier way in the Hermit card here, where the koala is hugging their tree, and that really is their home, their source of safety and comfort and solace. And there's a message with the Hermit about solitude and not mistaking solitude for the only way for you to access comfort, solace, and a sense of home. I think this is a natural consequence of embracing what we were just talking about with following your own internal guidance system of your emotions and your intuition and redefining your own life and having that balance of surrender and agency. A natural consequence of that is having a really, really strong core sense of self, just like the Queen of Swords does, and being able to carry that with you into external situations more and more the more you practice it. Because that core sense of self is the true source of boundaries. Boundaries are not this like for and against game that we often play. They're simply the definitions of your core sense of self. And so what doesn't align with it and what does align with it is very clearly differentiated. And that's where we get this sense of boundaries as like a wall or a fence. In different circumstances, they may not present that way. So having that really strong sense of self and practicing that in all moments of your life, like what do I really want? How do I want to relate to this moment? What is really true for me? What is truly for my highest and best good? And what do I want in that deeper aligned sense as opposed to a fleeting craving sense? Getting to know yourself in that way is something you can get to carry with you out into the world and how you interact with external factors and people. And so this is another, down the line of dominoes, this is another pivot point for you where you get to turn around from having this relationship to solitude as like your only saving grace into turning the Hermit upright, and you have solitude as a place you can return to for clarity, for releasing the obstructing factors to your clarity and your truth, but not your only place of solace, not your only retreat. You can access your contemplation and wisdom and your sense of self while around other people as well, but that takes practicing in solitude without interference, typically first and or at the same time. It definitely takes a constant, in my experience, it takes a constant practice of retreating back into self and solitude to remind yourself, well, what do I really think? How do I really feel? How does my body feel? What does it feel like for me to breathe into this moment, in this situation? It takes that continuous practice, and that is something you can then bring with you to really change how you relate to the external world. And with this element of the tree as the home for these creatures and the hermit being in reverse, a change in how you relate to your home is being called for this group. We were talking about the home of your physical body and your physical life, changing your relationship to that. What I'm getting from the trees in these cards is, and with the hermit here, is kind of confirming that what I said about maybe needing to move home is definitely not misguided for a lot of people in this group. That is something that is being called for, but also for those of you where you aren't being called to move home, just changing your relationship to it is part of your changing your relationship to your daily life, routines, habits, and physical body. So how can you actually set up your home to be better for your physical body? Do you need a mattress topper or a new bed? Do you need a new desk chair? Do you always sit in the same spot even though it's not the most comfortable spot for you in your home? Do you need to maybe bring in some fresh air and some sunlight and actually open the curtains more? Maybe you've been having some trouble getting out of bed, and actually just rolling over and opening the curtains and letting some sunlight stream in while you have 5 minutes of deep breathing would make a huge difference for you in getting out of bed more easily and feeling more just naturally, with the Ace of Swords, inspired to do so. Coming out of your cave is something I'm hearing with the Hermit reversed. But also freshening up and cleaning up and reinventing your cave, reinventing your relationship to it, whether it's redecorating, cleaning, setting things up. We spoke in the reading that I've referred back to a couple of times because it had the 2 9s in it. We spoke in that about really setting up your sleep space for the most optimal sleep. And this is speaking to expanding that to, your kitchen, setting it up so that it feels better for you to cook in there, so that you'll have better meals for yourself. What can you bring in there? Do you want to bring a speaker in there so you can listen to your favorite music or your favorite podcast while you cook? What is it that would help you? Do you want to bring a comfortable chair over to your laundry area so that you can sit while you're folding your clothes instead of hurting your back? What is it? Maybe you hurt your back bending over to get the clothes out of the dryer, and that's why you need that chair over there. Maybe you want to bring a yoga mat onto your porch or patio or balcony area to remind you and inspire you to do some stretching in the sunlight. Whatever it is for you. Okay. Yeah, and on the back of the deck, for this deck, we have the Page of Pentacles, the Page of Crystals with ideas and discipline. This speaks to leveling up from that series of Ace to 10 to the Court cards series of Page to King and Queen. And also speaks to having new ideas that you actually implement on the physical. This is speaking to that, okay, as you bring in this shakeup and you get this new inspiration from the Ace of Swords, that's going to lead very naturally, almost effortlessly, but with some effort of discipline, to the actual implementation of ideas that you may not even have expected to be either so easy to implement or so fruitful to implement. And yes, this does involve some discipline, but discipline from the inside out, discipline where you're doing what it takes to remind yourself to do things because they make you feel good, because they make you feel better, rather than discipline where you're, like we talked about with being yoked to something external. This is not discipline where you're whipping the horse. This is not discipline where you're forcing yourself to do things that don't feel good because you think you have to. This is discipline where you discover things and explore things that make you feel better and do what it takes to enforce those as new habits for yourself. And I was sort of mindlessly shuffling, and I came out with the 10 of Cups, blessings and well-being, the 10 of shells. So I'm going to make some room for this card here as well, because this is speaking to this ultimate emotional fulfillment being available to you down the line, and being so much more available to you, more easily accessible to you because of these transformations that you are willingly undergoing. There's this sense of gratitude from spirit, from your own heart and soul and body, from your spirit guides and the universe itself, for you actually allowing yourself to unfold down this path into this expansive sense of being blessed and having well-being. Okay. What else do we want to bring through, Spirit? Any other messages for this group? That is pretty much all we have for you today, but I'm being drawn to get some final cards from the Shadowscapes Tarot. What do we have here? We have the Chariot. I was thinking of that before. All this talk about yoking and unyoking, I was thinking about the Chariot repeatedly. So I'm really happy to see that come through. It's like unyoking this energy and this fire within you to allow it to pull you in the direction of your heart's desire, to pull you in the direction of a more aligned life. When you get that sort of niggle as you're doing some task about like, you know, I'm on autopilot doing it this way, but I might actually, I don't feel great right now. Something is calling me to do this in a way that feels better. Listening to that and letting it pull you. And by developing that relationship with your own desires, your own body, your emotions, you become the one in charge of the reins without having to whip the horse. It's developing that relationship with yourself, with your desires, with your needs, where you let yourself be pulled by them and are the master of how you get your needs met. You make choices that are in alignment with them. And that is another way of framing that balance that we were talking about with the Justice card and with the Infinity symbol and the Death card. Yes, leaning into letting yourself be pulled, but also allowing yourself to take the reins and take charge and take authority over how you go about meeting your own needs, instead of assuming on autopilot that it's simply not possible for you to meet a certain need because at a point in the past in your life it wasn't possible. You have a lot more options available to you, is one of the underlying themes of this reading, than you did in the past, and then you may realize you have now. And it's time to let your heart, your physical body's messages and needs, and your emotional body's messages and needs, and your heart and soul pull you in the direction of the options that are actually most aligned for you, that you actually, in your deepest heart of hearts, want the most. And use your intellect, your logic, your clear, keen sight with the Queen of Swords, your keen access to your intuition and your keen observational skills, all of that is at your disposal with the Queen of Swords, to choose clearly and precisely and succinctly how you wish to go about making new choices based on where these messages are pulling you, and how you wish to go about meeting the needs that these messages are alerting you to from within yourself. So thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you tuning in to your own spiritual guidance, as well as to my channeling of that guidance from your spirit guides and higher selves. So thank you so much. Feel free to leave a comment below if you'd like to tell me how this reading has resonated with you. I love hearing from you. And check out the bio and the description box below for my website if you're interested in personal readings, or if you're interested in shorter messages on social media. I love having you here. Thank you so much for being here, and have a wonderful rest of your day.